my chairman from a Walton County Republican Party, Marc McMain, has been doing an outstanding job in these last 2 years. He's a great chairperson. He's a great chairman of our local GOP. So, Dave, bring on our chairman, Marc McMain. Hey, Marc!
Hey, Lucretia, how are you?
I didn't win the board of directors, but I'm still on the outreach committee and I'm still on the membership committee for the NRA.
Well, that's a blessing. And hey, look, I appreciate what you, your team, and your listeners do. This is a great podcast, a great deal that you got going on. You're pushing the conservative agenda, and you're a blessing.
Well, I'm learning from the best. I know Roy used to be our chairman, but you stepped in and filled those, I say 14 inches really, really well. And I like it because you keep peace, you keep order inside of the GOP, and you vet very great conservative people that might want to run for office. Can you give them a little bit of what you do as being a local chairman of Republican Party?
I will. Yeah. So you're right. I took the place of legendary chairman Roy Roberts Sr., who had been our chairman for over 20 years. And it was big shoes to fill. So we had a great following. We had a great reputation. I wanted to add a level of organization, let's call it, and some structure to be sure that our processes run a little bit smoother. And I also realized, we had the blessing of coming in at one of the most important elections of our lifetime with President Trump's most recent election. And I wanted to be sure that we had an ultra strong grassroots effort. So on top of the layers of organization, we added a grassroots element that was unprecedented for Walton County. And I really felt helped turn Walton County and the state of Georgia in favor of Trump.
Amen. Now, most people don't know that we are I consider a very strong red stronghold. We're like 76, 77%. Dave said 80. I feel like we're about that much, but we're surrounded by blue. We got it in Athens. We got it in Gwinnett County. We got it in Rockdale and some of Noonan. How do we combat and to keep, Walton County, how do we keep that red from them encroaching?
That is a fantastic question. So let's talk about that number for a second, Lucretia, because we were an 80% county. If you go back to the 2008 election, and you have to look at data, when you look and try to determine what percentage of your county is Republican versus Democrat, we're a non-registration state, so we have to look at election results. And if we look at the data from 2008, we were about a 78% Republican county. Fast forward, I'll spell you all the details in between 2008 and 2024, but fast forward to 2024, and we are now a 73% Republican county. So we've dropped about 5 points in what is that, about 16 years? And that is because people are leaving Fulton, which is heavily Democrat. They're leaving DeKalb, they're leaving Gwinnett, and they're coming our way. Why are they coming our way? Because we have fantastic law enforcement. Mm-hmm. We have great leaders. We have terrific schools, all led by conservative Republicans. So in answer to your question, how do we, people have used the word firewall, and I don't know if that's the best word to use. I don't like that word. What I look at is how do we convince those that are coming to Walton County to leave their voting habits, that they're exiting the county that they know is a disaster. The school system's terrible. The law enforcement's bad. The leaders are corrupt. They're coming to Walton County because we're doing it right. Leave your voting habits there and follow our plan, follow the Republican plan, which is a model of success.
Yes. Now, when you say the firewall, you got to kind of look at us as a firewall, and then you jump to the 10th district. The 10th district, because it's northeast Georgia, that's still red. I mean, it's encroaching, but it's still red. The firewall for us, I would say between Gwinnett County and to Clark County or Athens County, we are that firewall from the blue to the blue, and they can't seem how to actually encroach into Walton County. Now, we got Social Circle. We have so many small little towns in Walton County with great mayors, great everything. How do we get out here and actually knock on more doors, make more phone calls to make sure that a lot of these precincts are going to be filled with red stronghold?
Oh, man, Lucretia, you are singing my gospel. It is just fantastic questions. There are efforts that we're taking in a visible fashion that would be in the form of marketing to reach new people coming to Walton County, because that's where we have to start, right? We have to meet them at their door and engage them, whether it's through postcards, whether it's through social media, or whether it's making phone calls or knocking on their doors. And again, it's a messaging that is, it can't be as simple as, hey, just vote Republican because we're great.
Right.
We have to give them a proof of concept. We have to show them, this is why we're asking you to vote Republican. This is why we feel that our policies are fantastic for communities. They're fantastic for families and for growth. And so that's what we have underway with the Walton County GOP, is making that effort to convince people. Because look, Lucretia, we can't stop people from moving to Walton County, right? People have the freedom to live wherever they want to live. But what we can do is make that effort of convincing them that we're doing it the right way. And that's what we're trying to do with the Walton County GOP, in addition to, like you said earlier, being sure that we're finding good conservative candidates to run for office.
I can tell you one way of keeping this county red: no sewage, none, never, ever a sewage line from one side of the county to the other. If they ever come in here with sewage lines, you can forget about it. You won't be able to keep them out. But as long as they have to have their own septic tank, and there's no sewer system the way Gwinnett is, we won't be. That's the only way. We will always be a small community until they push that sewage line straight up 78. And once that's done, it's over with.
Yeah, I think our leaders have done a good job of, if you look at the guidelines in place for residential, I think they've done a good job of being sure that homes are spread out, that we have space, that we're not building home on top of home on top of home. And that is, that you're right. That's a great point, is being sure that we don't have overpopulation, because look, there's a lot of things that come from it. And another one byproduct of what you just described would be the terrible traffic problem in Gwinnett County. I don't know if you've been over to Hamilton Mill lately, but you can't even move around over there at 5 p.m.
If you're talking about over there by the Mall of Georgia, I would not want to go anywhere near that, the Mall of Georgia areas. And no, but maybe that's the stipulations that, to keep Walton County small, is to put that stipulation in here and not having these houses on top of every. I'm seeing subdivisions with 500-600 homes with no land, no anything, and they call that the American dream. That's not the American dream. Lower taxes, which is what the Republican motto is: lower taxes, no regulation or lower regulation, and pretty much to stay out of our pockets. Let us live and let live. But I think that's the Generation X motto. But when I was in Barrow County, Ken Young was his name. Less taxes, less government, more self-responsibility is the Republican way, and that we always uphold the Constitution, not only of the United States, but also the Constitution inside of Georgia. Now that we know, and somebody was talking about election interference, now that we know that Stacey Abrams and her group got $2.2 billion, and they were saying it was for energy stuff, energy this, energy that. We know for a fact when she was running for office, AgBlue and a lot of these donations that was coming in, fueling her campaign, is now stopped. The outside influence have stopped when it comes to these Democrat campaigns. What can we do as Republicans to even counteract their campaigns? Because right now Democrats has nothing to run on. You can't go in the hood, you can't go in to the trailer parks, you can't go into any of these places and promise anything, that you're going to lower taxes, get crime off the street, keep our schools safe, because they don't represent that anymore. How do you feel that Republicans can do by capturing the Democrats that are just so bamboozled, but they're still so conservative?
Well, I think this recent election was a perfect example of that, as they're disgusted with what the Democrats have put forth. When you look at some of the communities, and let's look at some of the minority communities, which are typically heavily Democrat, whether it's the Black community, the Hispanic community, who my wife is from Mexico, we all share very similar conservative core values. And I think that was on display, because the left is no longer a party of social services and high taxes. The left is the party of the most obscene policies that we've ever seen. And think about this, Lucretia. If you and I had this conversation back in, say, 2015, that we'd be talking about allowing men to compete in women's sports or opening up our borders, we would have said that's Looney Tunes. We'd never be discussing that.
Right.
Well, in just a matter of a few years later, here it is. And thank God President Trump was elected. And here's what's frustrating is the Democrats are now trying to paint this picture. I think somebody said the other day, this has been 100 days of hell, referencing his presidency. Well, let's talk about it. It's probably been 100 days of hell if you're a violent criminal illegal alien.
Thank you.
If you're a proponent for pedophile or the transgender, disgusting transgender movie, that's 100 days in hell for you. But for us, we're trying to unwind 4 years of disastrous policy, and it's going to take time.
Yes.
It's not something that he's going to be able to do in 3 months. It's going to take, years to get this done, but he's going to get it done.
What do you feel about Doge, and can Doge actually be implemented down in the state of Georgia? When I say Doge, because I'm thinking, the Department of Government Efficiency, but we have a balanced budget. We have a budget and we have a law inside of Georgia that no matter what the party is sitting down there, the majority have to stay within that budget. What do you feel that Doge can actually do or accomplish inside of the state of Georgia?
Yeah, and thank God for the balanced budget. I wish the federal government would get on board with that. I love the idea. I think Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones has been a proponent of this, and maybe it doesn't completely emulate the Doge that we see in the federal level, but the idea that we look for efficiencies within the state of Georgia is just common, smart business practice. And I think when we get more and more smart business leaders in the General Assembly in the state of Georgia, we can start applying that. So I'm a fan and proponent of the Doge on the state level. I think we know, Lucretia, we're going to be able to find efficiencies that can save the taxpayers of Georgia money.
Now, when it comes, Sherry, I'm about to get to you because we have issue with Rose. Sherry, she lives in Punta Gorda, Florida, though. She said, stop building. Florida and Georgia is a mess, and no one looks at the infrastructure. Speaking of the infrastructure, how much wider can they get? 20, 285, 75, 78, 81? How much bigger can they go, and how much more land can the government actually come and take?
Yeah, 285. I'd stay away from 285 now, Lucretia. It's like a NASCAR racetrack, but it's gotten ludicrous when you look at the band of lanes that are coming in and out of the city of Atlanta. But I think what's happening is people now are realizing that there's overcrowding in the communities that we talked about earlier, and people are willing to jump Walton County, and they're willing to jump Morgan County and go out to Greene County or Telford County or other areas that. Look, we're on a Zoom call, so a lot of people learn, hey, they can work from home or they can be efficient. So I think that is probably the answer in Georgia. We have so much wonderful space and so much country to build upon and do it in a way that's not overcrowding and like you said, not an overbearing demand on infrastructure.
Now, when it comes, do you even do the Democrats, do they talk to you at all, being a chairman? I know there's a Democrat Party in Walton County. But do they even try to reach out Olive Branch to have a community get together, do something for the children?
No, I've made some attempts, and it's funny you say that because back when, before I was chairman, I was running for office, I reached out to some of the leaders within the Democratic Party, and the first question that I was asked by one of them, I'm not going to say who it was, and he's not a bad guy, he's not an evil guy. They advocate for evil policies, but I'm not going to call him an evil guy. The first question he asked me is to say, what do you think of President Trump? I said, I love President Trump. And then he ended the phone call. And so no matter what I was going to bring to the table, like you said, to do something that was even non-political, it was dead in the water because I was a pro-Trump guy.
Hey, did you ever tell them to read their own platform? They don't even have God in their platform. They don't even know what a man is. They don't even know what a female is. They don't even know what justice is. Everything that my fathers and my mom them always talked about the Democratic Party, that's not the Democratic Party. What was they talking about? And now when you're looking at the Democratic Party attacking the Republican platform, at least we got wholesome and goodness in our platform. We want to protect the children. We want to lower taxes. We don't want a lot of regulation. We know who God is, and we can worship him at our choice and our giving. Why do they not want to talk to Republicans so much? What is so awful about our platform and so godly that repels them from even coming to the table?
I mean, we can always blame it on Trump derangement syndrome, but it's beyond that. Because fast forward 10 years from now, nothing's going to change. After Trump is moved on and somebody else has taken over as president, and praying that it's J.D. Vance and other Republican leaders taking his spot, they're going to find other reasons. And the core reason is just what you said a second ago, is their party is absent of God. Their party is absent of Christ. I firmly believe the United States is a country founded in Christian principles. I think this is a divine nation, and they don't. They don't think that. They don't share that initial core value, and so that makes the conversation very difficult to have. And I don't know. Their party's in disarray, and I don't know who their leader is. If you're going to tell me that Gavin Newsom's going to be the nominee in a few years, I think they're in big trouble, because he's been exposed in this most recent event in California with the fires. And then when you see him get interviewed, or when he does the interviews online, he's now trying to come back and look like he's a moderate. And I think people see right through that. He's not a moderate. No. He is going to rubber stamp the far left radical agenda, because that's who's leading the Democratic Party now. It's the AOCs and the squads of the world that are running that show.
You ready? We got AOC, Bernie Sanders, believe it or not. Bernie's back in town. Got Kamala Harris. We got Westmoreland of Maryland. We got Shapiro of, where the hell are you from?
Pennsylvania.
To tell you, I don't even know. Who cares? Newsom. We got Gavin Newsom. And then there was one more person they was throwing in the mix. These are the people so far that, Prickster is Bernie. We got Newsom, AOC, Kamala Harris, and Shapiro. Those are the front runners, or the polls are out there going and saying who would be the best Democratic candidate for, believe it or not, president, and who's in the race and who's in the lead. Kamala Harris.
Oh, so they want to try that one again, do they?
Well, you got to think about Kamala, but then they asked, also that came out in the news yesterday, guess who's running for governor of Georgia again?
I heard that Stacey Abrams maybe is throwing her name.
Karen Bass.
Okay.
You said okay. You don't think?
And that's of great concern to us, Lucretia, because we're on the heels of just wrapping up this fantastic victory in November. Mm-hmm. But in Georgia, we cannot sit idly by and celebrate. There's no time to rest, because we've got a battle. Governor Kemp's term expires. He's term limited out. We have to be sure that a good, solid Republican takes a spot, whether it's Burt Jones or Chris Carr. I don't know who all is going to.
Ooh, I'm glad you didn't say the other name, because I was about to give you the stink eye. Ain't no way in the world. Why is he even trying? And now you got Gabriel Sterling running for Secretary of State. Come on, Mark. I know we're Republicans, but we ain't that Republican.
Well, and I think the Republican Party will do a good job, and we're going to pick a good, strong, conservative, brilliant candidate for these spots. I have faith in our primary process that'll happen. But whoever the nominee is for governor and the other constitutional offices, Lucretia, we have work to do. Mm-hmm. And I hate saying this. I don't think it's true, but the numbers tell me it's true. We may be a purple state. I didn't want to admit it, but we may be a purple state.
Well,
but I think we can fix that if we get more people to get out and vote. And that goes back to what we do. You
got to stop the animosity. I want you to sit near me. Wait a minute. Are we still going to the convention? Because every time are we going to the convention? And are we are we alternates?
The state convention. Are you going to be there?
Yeah, if you let me. Are we alternates?
I don't have that information off the top of my head, but I'll find out.
Please do, because it wasn't my fault.
You guys I'm assuming you're delegates. Yeah. Well, so we need to be sure that we have everybody there too.
Oh no, we sitting by each other and we're gonna be whispering and gossiping. Why? Because there's a fraction. There's squabble this side, squabble this side, and I'm in the middle, and I'm like la 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 la. I don't hear none of y'all right now. So this chairman's race. I ain't asking you, because you cannot. Don't you say nothing. Stay out of it. But this chairman race right about now with Cross and the other one, I'm sitting here like I don't even know what to do. I'm staying out of this fight. This has gotten nasty.
It has, and party politics can be unsavory. I mean, I try not to focus on what goes on at the state level because we're so busy at the county level, but I think you're going to agree with me on this. We are blessed because we have a leader in the 10th district, Chairman James Cooper. That's kind of my guy that I go to. He's my mentor, if you will. So if there's a plan I want to implement, or if there's an idea that I want to share, he'll help me vet it. So thank God, because we have somebody like Chairman Cooper. I don't rely on the state. And so you're right. I try to not get in the mess of what's going on up there. I've got my work to do here in Walton County because, look, we have doors to knock. We've got phone calls to make. We've got postcards to write. And we have checks to write because we're going to be busy. The next 12 months, well, the next 18 months, we're going to be covered up.
And me, this is what I love about you and also James. Y'all give the YRs y'all give them support, mentorship. You try to train the young Republicans about, not only, I'm talking about Jaquan. That young man right there, and how y'all open arms with him, not only to train him the right way, but to teach him the right way and to get up out there to be a very outstanding young man. I see him pulling a lot of our district to the mainstream only because of his brilliant mind. Where would you like to see Jaquan and Cooper and, Emory and all of these young Republicans that are floating around the state, picking up seats every now and then? What do you see for them?
Well, and I agree. I think Chairman Cooper has done a great job. And again, if I could use the word mentoring, he really has been a source of counsel for Jaquan. And look, guys like Jaquan, I call him a kid. He's not a kid. He's a young man, but he's younger than my son, so I call him a kid. Jaquan is the future of our party. And what makes somebody like him so special is when you see him speak, he speaks from the heart. He doesn't look rehearsed. He's speaking from experience. He's speaking from the heart, and it's passionate to him. And that's resonating with people. So I think the sky's the limit for Jaquan, whether it's in party leadership or if he decides to get actually into the political realm. Who knows what he wants to do. But he is the future of the party, and we have to listen to what they're saying because we're only here for so much time, and we got to be sure that we have people ready to take our spots.
Now, for you, what is your next step? Is it going to be state level, Senate representative, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, commission of agriculture, or are you just going to take him down and go for Senate or, House of Representative? Which one is it going to be?
Funny you should ask. So this past weekend, we officially launched our campaign. I live in State Senate District 46, which Bill Calsert's our current state senator. He's leaving to run for AG, and I have officially launched my campaign as I'm running to fill that void. And our campaign just launched and we're underway, and it is going to be a busy but fun 12 months campaigning.
Okay, what you need for me and Dave do? I mean, can we cut
do you
videos?
have a logo?
Yeah, you got logos, you got anything?
I do. I have my campaign team reach out to you. I'm blessed. I have an incredible team, and so I have them send you some information that'll have, what we're going to be advocating for, our logos and whatnot. So yeah, just help us spread the gospel and secure some votes.
Okay, wait a minute now. You can't be leaving no void. Who's taking your spot?
Oh, no void being left. Yes. Okay. The party has a structure in place that as I step away, our first vice chair, who is currently Vince Jonte, will take over as chairman. And I have been working feverishly behind the scenes with Chairman Cooper and my executive committee from top to bottom to be sure that everybody has a role, that they know what we're doing, and that the transition goes smooth. And we're going to take a couple months for me to transition out. So I think the last month for me being chairman of the Walton County Republican Party will be July. And then August will be the first month that Vince Jonte is the chairman.
Okay, we making t-shirts, hats. We can make it the t-shirts and a hat and like beat everybody else out of the frame. They ain't gonna be able to get shirts cheap. Not they ain't gonna be cheap looking, but they'll be gilding. But yeah, we want to do that. I am so honored. We need videos. I need to do videos, reels. You got an Instagram. You got TikTok.
We do. Yeah, we got our Facebook page. It's Marc is spelled with a C, M-A-R-C, for GA.com, and that's our website as well. So both the Facebook and the website are marcforga.com. So yeah, check it out. We're in a good position. I ran for Congress 4 years ago, lost that race. We're blessed. I think Congressman Mike Collins, who ultimately won, is doing a great job in Washington for us, and I consider him a friend. But yeah, my wife and I prayed about this, and we had to shift gears from, hey, what are we going to do from a federal level, running for Congress, to now what can I do? What can I bring to the state and help the state of Georgia and the citizens of Georgia. And once I had peace with that and had a plan, that's when we decided to enter this race. So I'm excited.
Well, I can see a lot what you can do in Bill Cowser's seat. So that's not a question. The strong policies, different things like that, keeping Georgia red. I can see all of that. That's going to be the cakewalk with you. So we're going to talk about that when the race get closer.
That sounds good.
We got 2 minutes left. I'm going to let you go ahead and close it off before we go to the top of the hour. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Like I said at the beginning, Lucretia, you are a blessing. Your team, your followers, and the people that watch your show, we have to stay involved. And there's so much that we can do. And so I'd ask everybody who's watching this to ask yourself a couple of questions. Look at the past 24 months and ask yourself, how many doors have you knocked? How many phone calls have you made? How many text messages have you sent? Or how many checks have you written? Because we can all do one of those 4 things. And turning on Fox News or Newsmax is great, but that's not getting involved. We have to get involved. We are a grassroots party. This last victory in November proved it. We outworked the Democrats, but we also have got the better message and we've got the better candidates. So if everybody is willing to roll up their sleeves and do something, we will maintain control of the executive branch for decades to come because we are the better party and we've got the better message.
All right. Thank you so much. Like I said, this is my chairman, everybody. So this is my chairman of the Walton County GOP, Marc McMain. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Lucretia.
All right, then. Get on back to vacation.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, everybody. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. Go ahead, Dave. Wait a
Dear friends, family, and supporters, my name is Nadia Hamilton, Lucretia's niece, and I'm reaching out with an urgent plea to help save the home of Lucretia Hughes, a true American patriot, a devoted mother, and passionate advocate for freedom. Lucretia has faced unimaginable challenges, including the tragic loss of her son to gun violence in 2016. Yet she continues to fight for saving America, our veterans, and your Second Amendment rights with unwavering strength. We are launching this Give, Send, Go campaign to raise $350,000 to help Lucretia keep her home, provide stability for her family, and continue the messaging for our country. Your support can make a real impact. Lucretia has always been there for others, speaking out against injustice and supporting causes that matter. Now it is our turn to stand by her. Every donation, no matter how small, brings us closer to securing her home and giving her the peace of mind she deserves. Click the link below to contribute any amount you can. Every dollar counts. If you can't donate, please keep Lucretia and her family in your prayers. Spread the word by sharing this campaign on social media, with friends, and in your community. The more people who see this, the closer we get to our goal. Thank you for rallying around Lucretia in her time of need. Together, we can keep her home and continue her powerful work. Let's show her she's not alone in this fight.